committed, ladies and gentlemen, the most heinous and terrible crime, for which I deeply apologize that I should mention such a dreadful thing. But as a boy of 7.5 years of age, I was sent to boarding school where I swung on a lavatory chain and fell into a bowl. I was sitting on it. All our lavatories were all in a line, you see. There were no cubicles. They was all in a line. And there were all these chains, and I was sitting communicating with nature. And I looked and I saw these chains going down, and I thought, if I can swing, I've just seen a Tarzan film, you see. If I can swing from one to the next one, and then back, and going, whoa, whoa, I can go the full length of the lavatories. I made 3. And I fell into the bowl and got my foot caught, and couldn't get my foot out. They had to send for a plumber who had to dismantle the lavatory pad. And so the headmaster then thrashed me. I was sent into the courtyard, made to change into my gym tunic. Nothing kinky about masters in those days. And I was duly thrashed for this heinous crime of swinging upon a lavatory chain. So I was thrown out of that school, and most other schools too. I didn't last very long. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to build theatres and be an actor and get out there and work. That's what I've been doing for 60 years, and so I knew I had the right idea. Yeah, next question. Sir.
Yes, what happened to Bessie?
What happened to Bessie? Yes. Bessie is, I was talking about it yesterday. Bessie, in the first episode that I did, I stole a magnificent car owned by a doctor called a Vauxhall 3098, which is one of England's greatest motor cars. And I was thrilled a bit to be driving this. And I pinched all these clothes, if you may remember, from young doctors from a changing room from the hospital. And I drove off in the car with somebody's cloak and somebody's velvet jacket and somebody's frilly shirt. And I said to the brigadier later on, I must have some clothes and some transport. Can I keep the ones I've got? He said, no, you certainly can't. But I tell you what I will do, I'll get you some new ones. And so he got me Bessie, and I got myself all these clothes. And I stuck with it all the years I was in Doctor Who. I wore these clothes, different ones for each story, different colours. And we're practically finished with them now. I normally bring something for an auction and sell it, but they've nearly all gone now, I'm afraid, after all these years that I've been coming to America. Yeah. Yes. What do I think of the levitating Daleks? I'm responsible for that because I've always taken the mickey out of the Daleks by saying what a useless bloody monster they are, but you only have to go down a flight of stairs and you've got them screwed. And people got fed up with this when they heard these jokes, and so somebody said, aha, not this Dalek. They can hovercraft now. So now that won't apply. And Sylvester McCoy tells me that he was chased down a flight of stairs by a whole line of Daleks. So no longer can I say that. So I shall be kinder about Daleks in future. I shall not refer to their appendages as sink pumps and egg whisks. I shall be much more careful. Yes, sir. You have to speak up so the chipmunks are starting again. Again? How does England compare to Boston? It doesn't. It doesn't at all, because England is really Boston, and Boston is England. I mean, I've never seen a more beautiful city, but many of our cities, do you know England at all? Well, I mean, go and you will see what I mean. There are cities in England which have a tremendous similarity to Boston. Well, this is inevitable, of course, because it was, I suppose Boston was originally built by the British, right? And it's a gorgeous and beautiful city, and I love it. I love most things about it. I love the lobster, I love all the fish, and I hate the Banana Republic and the Sharper Image, because I spend far too much money because they're the best shops in the world. And Brookstones, too. Don't let's forget Brookstones. And you've got one unique shop which should be put on the list of illegal shops, called Filene's Basement. I had just fought my way into Filene's Basement. I stood with my wife in the snow, freezing to death. Real brass monkey weather. And there I stood outside waiting for the doors to open, and with a rush 12,000 people hurtled down the stairs to grab the latest Saks Fifth Avenue cashmere jacket for 30 cents. No, it's a wonderful shot. We have nothing like it. There isn't anything like it anywhere in the world, the way it goes down and down and down. When I played in Boston before in the theatre, I was told what you must do is you must get whatever you want to buy and you must hide it so that nobody knows it's there. So 3 or 4 days later they say, that didn't sell, down the floor it goes, that didn't sell, down the floor it goes. So you keep going back and you shove things underneath piles of sweaters and old trousers, things like that, until eventually you find it. The last time I was here, I bought a Saks Fifth Avenue overcoat in black cotton, waterproof cotton, lined in seal fur. In those days, it was perfectly all right to wear fur. And this was the most magnificent coat I've ever seen. It originally, and I'm talking about 10 years ago, it was originally, I think, something like $1,600. And I bought it eventually in the basement, I think it was $85, which was wonderful. Now, it's no good applauding because I took it back to England, left it on a bed, and it was pinched within 3 days. So I looked for one today, but there aren't any more. There are none left. There were some lovely things. Yeah, anything else? Sir? I'm sorry, you'll have to really shout. Yes, that's correct. The possibility of my doing a radio show. The BBC have now, it takes them a long time to actually say yes, or no, or please, or go, and it takes the BBC Enterprise a great deal of time. They've decided at last that Doctor Who is finished as a television show, and so I asked them over 18 months ago for permission to do Doctor Who on radio, to make it on cassettes, and sell them in cassettes like they do my radio series, which is called The Navy Lark, which is ran 20 years on the radio, and they've now recorded it. And now young people that have never ever heard my radio show are now buying it by the hundreds because it's now back in vogue again to listen to early radio, as long as it's good. And so that's what we're doing with The Navy Lark. And it is being written, the first of the series is being written by Barry Letts. Barry Letts was the producer of Doctor Who for many, many years, all the while I was the Doctor, the incumbent Doctor. And he also, you may not have known this, but Barry Letts in fact wrote some of the best Doctor Who's ever that you've seen. His name was Guy Leopold. That's the name he gave. He wasn't allowed to do it because the BBC refused to allow anybody who was producing to write as well or work in any other capacity. But so he called himself Guy Leopold and did it. And very successful they were too. So he's writing it. Yes?
I just wanted to mention, for a lot of actors, they play parts and then it's over, and when they come to conventions and so on, it's kind of tough because it's been so long ago, and yet they're always terrific with the audience. I just want to say it's great to see someone who's participated with Doctor Who in a story that we all really love and seems to like it just as much.
Yeah, well, that's very kind. You see, the thing is that you're all sci-fi fans, and the basis, the sort of solid rock of fandom is nearly always based on science fiction. Nobody knows why it is, an extraordinary thing. I mean, I have a series called Wurzel Gummidge, which I've talked to you about, which is an enormously successful show in all the English-speaking world, except the United States, because I explained yesterday, you, in case you didn't know it, don't understand English. That's why all your powers that be say, no, we can't show Wurzel Gummidge, nobody will understand it. The fact that I've played it to thousands of Americans, they've all understood every word, it's got nothing to do with it. You don't understand English, that's it. So you better get used to the idea. But sci-fi is appreciated in the most extraordinary and original way, and that's why we have so many conventions. I've been coming to America for years, ever since I was involved with Doctor Who. And it's wonderful, it brings me here, several times a year, and I never regret it. I always love it, love my visits. Yes? 2 questions, yes? Yeah. Right, let me do one thing at a time. Do I react favorably or unfavorably when people recognize me as Doctor Who? Is that what you're saying?